Hey, I'm Lee from the Play Guitar Podcast. Today I'm bringing you part 2 of my series in streamlining your progress on the guitar. Last time I went over the main reasons why progress is hard to come by when learning the guitar, and today I'm talking about what progress feels like, average guitar progress, and common hurdles that you're going to face moving forward with the guitar. So stay tuned. Progress. Let's start with progress itself. You hear things like, I'm moving forward, I'm getting better, I'm achieving my goals, I'm hitting some milestones. But let me ask you, how's your progress on the guitar? Do you feel like you're getting closer to your goals? If you are, that's great. But what if your guitar progress is slow or non-existent, or you feel like you're just going in the wrong direction, or you just don't even understand where you're going? You might want to start taking some steps toward bringing some regular progress into your guitar. Guitar learning progress takes a lot of different shapes. For the beginner, sometimes it could be just making a chord sound right that would make you feel good, give you a sense of achievement, and you know you're moving forward and you're in the right direction. But each step of the way, early on, you're following a method that's an achievement. And it can be a very fun time in the life of a musician. And the things that you learn, the fundamentals, those stay with you your whole life. For the intermediate guitarist, progress is a different thing. You're up and running, you're ready, and you may be playing out already, but the focus is using the fundamentals you've learned for a reason now. You're developing your own style, you're finding the things to round out your playing. It's a big focus of intermediate guitar player. There's still a lot of milestones that you're going to see. And you're playing moves mainly from being in the practice room out to starting to perform. It's a very exciting time, and there's a lot of new experiences. But when you move on to being an advanced guitarist, it's very different. The new experiences slow down a lot, and the main progress you have is in developing your craft, taking your playing in new directions, and discovering how your style fits in different musical situations. Those are big wins for the advanced guitarist. And also tackling areas of guitar playing that you may not have worked on before. So you're rounding out your sound. When I've helped advanced guitarists, I found that it's really accomplished best in a coaching type situation rather than a structured music lesson. So understanding what progress on the guitar should look like, this can give you something to look towards to see if you're on the right track. If you aren't experiencing some of these wins that I just talked about, it might be time to change things up a bit. What does progress feel like on the guitar? One of the strangest things about learning guitar is how we feel about it. I can't tell you how many times a student is clearly progressing, clearly getting better, has come to me saying like, I just don't feel like I'm getting any better. I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. That's the deceptive thing about progressing on the guitar. It's not smooth. It's not a smooth feeling. You're putting in the time and you're working on the things you know that will move you forward, but you're too close to it. You're so focused on what you can't do that you completely miss the progress that you are having. And this lack of steady, a good feeling all the time, it brings you down a little bit. I say this a lot, but it's true. Progressing on the guitar feels more like steps than a ramp. You're working these skills. You can feel as if you're staying on the same level. You don't feel like you're moving up, like you've just been on the same step for a long time, and you're just wanting to move up to the next. You don't feel like you're just getting better and better and better. It feels like you're kind of staying here. But the truth is that just because you're putting in the time, you're steadily getting better. It just doesn't feel that way. And what I find funny is that most feel like they've moved up to the next level when they get some sort of applause or positive feedback. You jump up to the next level, you get an attaboy. And once that happens, you feel like you're on the next level. But are you really that much different than the minute before you got that compliment or that applause? Truth is, you've been progressing smoothly all along, but now with that acknowledgement, all your hard work seems to be paying off and you feel like you jumped up to the next level. And it's a great feeling. Average guitar progress. I went over communication in the first video and how important it is. So let's have some communication. Here's the progress you can expect as you learn the guitar. This is great for helping when you get that all alone feeling or that nagging thought that you might not even be working on the right things. And this is my opinion. This is by no means the last word on this. It's just something you can kind of go by to keep on track to make sure that you're not lost or spinning your wheels. After a few months, a beginner should be able to tune their own guitar, play the majority of their open position chords, and play a few easy songs. And you should be comfortable holding and playing the guitar, and finger pain should be a thing of the past. Your fingers should be starting to get tougher. The next few months after that, a beginner guitar player should finish out all of the different open position chords. You should be able to use a capo, feel comfortable using that, and you should be able to understand and play several different strum patterns. And also maybe try a few open position scales. And also you're starting to build your repertoire of songs, and you should have them ready to play because, people, when they find out that you're taking guitar lessons, what's the first thing they say? Play me something, right? So you should have some things to play. All right, let's move to intermediate. Intermediate guitar starts off with bar chords, and just starting to play them and working on hand strength, that's great at this stage. It's a whole new way of holding your hand, and it takes a while to get used to. You should also be understanding the basics of guitar theory and the basics of scales. In the next, several months later after that, getting your 5 pattern scales down, the big 4, which is major, minor, major pentatonic, and minor pentatonic, having those worked out. You should also be mastering bar chords at this point and building an extensive repertoire of songs and starting to use modes, understanding what modes are. And also you're going to start really, really getting your rhythm and musicianship solid. When you get to the upper end of an intermediate guitar player, you should be working on incorporating some tension sounds into your chords and into your solos. You should maybe even look at 7 pattern scales, some very challenging songs, and some chord melodies. And that brings us to advanced guitar. Advanced guitar deals mainly with talking about what you've already built and steadily progressing that into the future. Also keeping your playing fresh and enjoyable while you're adding to it and adding to it in a way that's musical and that it's exciting. So this is my very general guideline for progress on the guitar. It doesn't take into consideration the style of music and the specifics of what a player wants to achieve on the guitar. These skills and their timing are different depending on you, the player. Okay, let's talk about some common hurdles for guitar progress. Staying on point with the guitar can be very difficult. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy. Communication here is also the key. If you know ahead of time the things that are coming, you've got time to avoid them and stay on track. But the biggest hurdle that I've seen by far when it comes to learning the guitar is distractions. And distractions come in many different forms. And earlier I went over the distraction of having so much different cool content. It keeps you from focusing on the thing you should be working on, the best thing for you. But there are a lot of other distractions that can keep you from moving forward. In the next video, which is called Streamlining Your Progress, I go over some ways you can set yourself up to remove distractions. But another hurdle I see a lot is avoidance. Avoiding something because you think it's going to be too hard. Usually that's not a great way to go, especially if you really want to be able to achieve that at some point. Remember when you learned the F chord, you wanted to avoid it. It's very common in guitar students who are learning the F chord. And then when bar chords, it seems that there's always something that students want to avoid at each step of the way. Let's talk about confusion. That's a big hurdle for guitarists too. Not knowing what to practice or how to go about it, that's very common, mostly because of the lack of having a teacher or a mentor to guide you. Also, confusion happens a lot because new guitarists are missing very important skills they need to perform the songs that they want. Let's talk about practicing ineffectively. That's a big hurdle. Just spending your time playing the things you already know over and over again, that's fun, but it's not very effective. And this is where you can really feel like you're spinning your wheels. Not knowing rhythm is the last one I'm going to talk about. It's being able to play very complex passages. That's awesome. But if your rhythm is off, all your hard work is for nothing. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And so we're going to move on to the next video. But before I go, I want to remind you about my free video lesson. It's called Get Your Blues Soloing Under Control. It's the 6 steps I found will give you the right foundations for killer blues solos. It's a lesson I put together after I spent some time with some listeners, and I know it can really help take your soloing to a new direction. You can find it at freeblueslesson.com, and you also get information about my podcast videos and all the other cool stuff sent right to you. So go ahead and check that out at freeblueslesson.com. Thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I had a great time bringing this one to you today. And keep a lookout tomorrow for part 3, which is my guitar progress guide.